Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to do my final 2025 lineup. I'm really not changing anything. Everything that I've done in recent years and in these last couple of months will still be the same. Basically, I'm just kind of semi transitioning into rings only because rings allows for a little bit more like flexibility in terms of like what I can keep in, what I can take out. But then also I can have a little bit more structure than I do with my bullet journals. So I'm not completely giving up on my bullet journals because I know that at some point in time I will definitely return to them. Because of life changes throughout the year and needs change. But for what I am considering for the start of this new year and basically the things that I want to accomplish within this year, like getting my son kindergarten ready. We're going full throttle with preschool and potty training. That's like happening now. And yeah, there's a bunch of things that are just like going on. I'm in my weight loss journey, so yeah, there's just a little bit of things, or there's a few things in my life that I just want to have a little bit more structure in. Okay, so let's go over these things first, and then we'll jump into the bigger of this bundle. So the first thing that I'm using for 2025 will be this habit calendar. I shared this in a recent video. It was sent to me, but this was also something that I was definitely considering to purchase. So I will be using this habit calendar. This will be more like home, like instead of what I used to do, which was keep track of, like certain bills, certain household things. This will primarily take the place of that, and this will sit somewhere where everyone in the house can see it. So I'll update it, and yeah, I usually make sure that whatever needs to be done gets done. So just in case anyone else in the house is not, mainly my husband, if he's not sure what needs to be done, or what we have going on, that he can look here and he can check it off if he does it. So I'm gonna keep track of like daily chores, weekly things, and monthly things. This is all going to be pertaining to household. It will all go in this tracker so we can just tick off whether or not we've done it. In the past, I've done this in personal rings, and if you've watched my personal rings videos from earlier last year, 2023, then I had a whole section that I dedicated to like when I did household chores and things like that. I would check them off, and I also kept track of like when we changed our filters and other things like that. So instead of printing out an insert and keeping it in my planner, because I don't really think I need to have that on me anymore, I'm putting it in here. It's community based, so everyone can now follow along what needs to be done monthly, daily, and weekly. So this habit calendar from Filofax has made it into my 2025. The second thing that I heavily debated on incorporating into 2025 was this Leuchtturm A5 daily planner. Originally for 2025, I only purchased this planner. I didn't purchase anything else. I wasn't given anything else. This was the only thing that I wanted to use for 2025. I figured that yeah, I could get a lot in here, but there were some things that I was really craving that this just couldn't provide. It had a lot of things that I liked in it that would make me go back and forth about what I really wanted to do, like this section that they have labeled the project plan, which allows you to track things throughout, every month. But there were a few things that I was just like, yeah, there are a couple little areas that I want to have in my planner specifically that I don't want to have to purchase another book for. I think that's fine if you're only focusing on like a few things and then you don't really need to have, many different sections. But this year I actually have a few areas that I'm really trying to focus on. So this didn't fit the bill in terms of like planning. But what I am going to do with this is going to be my health and wellness. For those of you who are not familiar with my health journey, I had a high risk pregnancy. I plan to get pregnant again at some point. I am extremely nervous to get pregnant because I've had several miscarriages in the past and I'm miscarriage prone. And so, my pregnancies are very high risk. I had a lot of complications having my son, which ended up with a C-section. And then I also was diabetic. I'm still battling, the teetering between being diabetic and not being diabetic, but still needing to track and keep up with what I'm eating. And then not only that, I've gained weight, I've lost weight. So it's been a whirlwind of a battle in terms of health. So for me this year, I think I just need to hold my own self really accountable for it and just like be a little bit more like militant with my health, because my health is important. Obviously, it's something that I've been struggling with. So now I'm just like, we just need to do it. We just need to just buckle down and do it. So I'm figuring that I'm going to track health and wellness in here. I don't know how exactly I want to lay out these particular like trackers, because I could track water, I can track physical activity, things like that. I don't know how I want to lay them out specifically, but the daily section, I'm thinking maybe I can do like a food journal. That's really where I'm at with it. Like I could track my food. I could also put in here like my steps, my blood sugar levels. I could also keep track of like what physical activity I did for that day. And then because this planner has a page or a blank page at the end of every week, I think what I'll do is I'll just summarize how my physical and emotional well-being was throughout that week. And then this way I can keep track on all the things health related, and I can see some of the gray areas, some of the things that I'm eating that just really need to be, switched out. And the back pages have like a few little notes pages. So what I think I'll do is there's really not a whole lot of stuff. So I'll just kind of probably tape in like some informal things, like maybe a food pyramid or something like that. Just something to help me, stay on track with this. But that's where this whole planner situation ended up. I thought it would be more suitable for a health and wellness journal. So that's what I did with this. So didn't totally waste it. This planner was also really expensive because it was like $50, I believe, because I got the A5 and not the A6. So I don't want to waste it. So I definitely was like, definitely health and wellness. All right, so we got through two minor things. Now the biggest thing I have in this bundle is my main planner for the year. So this is my personal rings. I know I'm going to get questions about what binder this is. I bought this binder off of Amazon for like pennies. I think it was $15 when I bought it. I'm also considering buying it again. I chose not to go with expensive binders, like a Moterm. A Moterm is very expensive to me. I chose not to go with that because I like to switch my stuff too often. And yeah, I'm not gentle at all with things. So I may not take care of things, but I'm not really gentle. So I just went with something cheaper. It made me feel, kind of a lot better about it. I purchased two more Agenda 52 binders because I also purchased 1.5 inch rings. And I found out that with the larger rings in the Agenda 52 binders, that personal rings fits like a glove. And so I will share that with you when I get the stuff. I'll do the whole taking the rings out and show you how I did that. But yeah, for this binder, I switched out the rings, which was fairly easy. I didn't have to cut the spine or anything. I switched out the rings. I put my patches on here. They're not the neatest, but it makes it unique to me. And it is set up, but it is not filled out yet. So that is the next part that I will be working on. So this will be my main planner, and basically some of the things from my bullet journal have transferred over into this. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm not really using my bullet journal as much as I was because it's the end of the year. There's really nothing to plan for. If anything, I'm getting ready for the new year, like the things that I want to focus on for the new year. But I'm kind of just like closing out 2024 and just, summing it up as I'm just chilling and I'm hanging out with my family. And yeah, I don't really have, we've PCS, we've moved into our home. I don't have much of anything going on at the moment. So I'm not really planning as much, but I will be getting ready for the new year in these weeks. So in this pocket, basically what I transferred over was things for my bullet journal. So like I transferred over my protractor, some pictures of my son and my husband, some stamps, because we do have to mail checks and I do need to grab a checkbook downstairs and throw it in here just so I have one on hand. But I kind of left that kind of stuff out because it does have our account number and things like that. So those are the only things that's missing, but I do have like a protractor, some stamps, some page flags that are in this pocket. I haven't thrown in any pens yet. And then I have more pictures of like my husband, my son. They make me extremely happy. So I'm happy to see them when I open this. And I have some funny stuff in here. So I love Frankie and Grace, or Grace and Frankie. I binge watched the whole show when I was pregnant with my son. And oh my God, I thought the quotes from this show was just fitting. So I'm not going to read all of them, but some of the ones that just like make me laugh the most is when when she basically says, we're not winging anything. We're going to over prepare and then act like we're winging it. I just was like, these are so fitting. And then like this one where she says, how can you say that? And she says, my brain sends a message to my mouth and it comes out. Neurology, Grace. I flipping love Grace and Frankie. I might be the only one. I don't know. But I will watch that show again and again because I love that whole show. I love it. And to be honest, I didn't have high hopes when I turned it on and just started binge watching it. But I have come to love Grace and Frankie. Like, I love that show. Anyway, I got some Filofax jot pads. I've had these with my 2023 ring planner. I just had some left over. I still have a lot of them. I like to use these for those little bitty notes that necessarily don't require a full page of paper. So like maybe you just need to jot somebody's number down or email down or a website or whatever the case may be. It's just a small note and you don't need a whole page to do that. These work great. You can plop them in anywhere in your planner if you choose to. But outside of that, these work great for smaller little quick notes, like sticky notes, but you can put them in the rings and you can still like move it so that you don't have to keep sticking it down and pulling it up. So that, and then this would start the agenda. So all the inserts, mainly all the inserts are day timer. I'm gonna get this right because I was calling it day designer last time. Day timer. All the inserts are day timer, and a few printables that I already had, I just reprinted some new ones. And one printable that I got today. So this first little section here is just like the personals page, and I chose to put all the sensitive info up front, instead of like having to flip, just in the event I lost this, or whatever the case may be. People usually turn to like the first couple of pages of a book if they are going to look into it. So I put all the like sensitive info stuff up front. I didn't fill anything out, obviously, for privacy reasons, but like the information for me would be in here. I'll definitely put like some of my important numbers, like my number, my husband's number, my mother's number and stuff. Just people that know me. I have birthdays and anniversaries. I took this from that bundle. And then I also have a planning calendar for 2025. So I'm planning to use this for like those big pivotal dates. So maybe there's a vacation coming up, or maybe there's something due that's very big coming up. Something, whatever the case may be, I'm going to put all like major events here. Something sort of like what I did in my passport weekly book, I want to say 2021 going into 2022. So if you have followed me for a while, and I mean my Germany days, then a lot of what I do has not changed. It's just that, the layouts might change, but what I like to do doesn't necessarily change. But that's how I want to do with this. I just want to be able to plug in like some of those pivotal dates. And then I have a address and phone directory. Like I said, I keep in touch with some of the people we've met in the military. Some family members, I don't always have their names, or not names, their numbers and their new addresses if they move. And then also I send out Christmas cards and stuff. So it's just always good to have the stuff on hand, so I don't have to keep asking people like, what's your address and all this other stuff. Like my friends, although I have not seen my friends that often, sometimes, I don't hear from them for a while, and I don't know if they've moved or not. So, and then I end up having to go ask them on Facebook, like, what's their address? So it's just good to just have an updated version of their address and stuff here, and then just update it periodically as time goes on. So that's that. And then I have a couple of those, and then I have a few of these. expense sheets. Now, initially when I did my walkthrough of this, I looked into these and I just thought automatically expense sheets for vehicle mileage. But then as I really got away from the camera, and then I was able to see all this little writing up here that I couldn't see before, I noticed that, oh, okay, it's like if you worked a job and you had a business card or whatever the case may be. So in my mind, at first I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to use those because they're not suited for the kind of tracking in terms of like budget and expense that I want. But here's the thing. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, there's 7 categories, right? So 7 vertical lines, and it goes to 31, so you can track for the entire month. And all I need to do is I just need to change each section. So all the sections are pre-labeled, but I could definitely just write my own signifiers of what each section is and just plug in my own expenses and tally them up at the bottom. So I can modify this insert to work out for me. I like it because it's compact in terms of the line spacing, but it also has the vehicle like expenses too and mileage on the back. So I can still use this and use this at the same time without ignoring, this page, because it's not really suited like the typical expense, like the check register and thing that I was assuming that it was. But I think that it will work out. I will let you guys know how that goes. This was a freebie. I got this from Watch Becca Plan. I got this from her website today. I actually went to quite a few people's websites today, just looking for like a weight tracker and a few other things. I was looking for like a food journal. I was looking for so many things before I had settled on using the Leuchtturm as like a health and wellness planner. But I got this dashboard. She didn't have any other inserts that I needed at the moment, because I think a lot of them were like weeklies and stuff, and I already have weeklies, so I didn't need that. So I just got this dashboard, which I really like, and I thought that it was super fitting. I don't know if I printed it right, because it printed just a tad bit wider than the personal size that I have in here, but I just trimmed it down a little bit and it all works out. And then behind that, I found a weight tracker from Haru Plans. Those are the other inserts that I have along with the day timer inserts. So I have some discrepancies about this tracker. I like the tracker. I love Haru Plans inserts. I have a lot of their inserts. They're not free. They're planner principles, but they print incredibly light. Like the lines are very light. The first couple of times that I printed it, it almost looked like I couldn't see it, like it didn't print anything. The print cut lines also very faint. Still couldn't see them. I don't know how I can change that. I've tried several different settings on my printer, but I think it's just the insert. My husband also believes that it's just the insert in itself. So I'll zoom up for you so you can see, but that's what the actual insert looks like. And then, so yeah, I went looking for another like weight tracker insert. I know Peanuts Planner Co. has some inserts that I was considering, and I might still go back to that, but I already had this one, so I just was like, you know what, let me just print it out again, hole punch it around the corners, and just try it and just see. But if it becomes a problem where because the lines are really light, my eyes are really bad. I really can't see, and the older I get, my eyes really get bad. Yeah, I laugh at that because I just think about all the jokes we laid on my mom about her not being able to see. But yeah, the older I get, my eyes just they just can't see this stuff. So I don't know. I would prefer something with darker lines, just saying. But I printed a few of those. There's quite a few in here. I doubt that I'll need all of them, but they're in there. I'm going to log my weight here, but I'm going to keep up with a lot of health related things, including weight in the Leuchtturm. And then I have a few of these 50-day challenge sheets. These are some challenges that I want to do for the new year starting, because I want to start the year off on the right foot. No, I'm not on the whole new year, new me kick. Not for say, but I want to at least have a clean slate and start incorporating some of those things that I want to kick. Like I'm starting small, so like a no sugar for 50 days. If I can go 50 days and we can keep going. A little bit of sugar, but let's just cut out, all this bad sugar. I'm just giving examples of some things that I'm thinking of having a challenge for, or a challenge of 50 days of straight physical activity, whatever that is, taking a walk, riding my bike, or um, working out, whatever the case may be. Whatever, I want to at least set some challenges for myself to motivate me to continue on in my health journey. I have made excuses for myself time and time again about not being able to do this, not having these resources, and I'm just kind of just like fed up with myself in this. And so now I'm just going to start playing little games to help myself become more motivated to do the thing that I want to do so I can achieve the results that I want. So that's my little weight and fitness tracking here. This is probably the only tracking that I'm going to do in here in terms of like weight and the challenges that I work on. I'm also probably going to check my blood and I'm probably also going to check my blood and glucose levels in here too, because it will be very important to bounce between, especially if I don't have my health and wellness planner with me. I'll be able to keep all of that really important stuff up to date so that I can transfer it. But those are probably like the only things that I will keep in here. And I think Peanuts Planner Co. does have an insert for diabetes, like checking your blood sugar. Okay, so I have half of one of those notepads. I just have a few of them torn off and put in here just for quicker access, like mini notes. I don't know. And then I have my actual planning pages. They start here. So I have all 12 months of the weeklies. I put all 12 months in here. This is where I will do a lot of the forward planning. I will do a lot of forward planning in these areas. There will be some to-dos, but not mainly. That will not be the focus of my weeklies. My weeklies will be more along the lines of like forward planning, upcoming events, and this is where I will make all the big changes. And this year I'm going to interact with pencil, so I'm going to be using both pencil and pen. I think this will work out great for me because I can pencil things in, and then if I need to cancel something, I can just erase it instead of having like all these confusing crosses. I know they do make friction pens, but pencils just come around much more easier, and they're a little bit more cost effective than the friction pens in my opinion. So I'm going to use pencil in terms of like forward planning and or future planning and all that good stuff. So my weeklies will strictly be used as such. Scheduling, seeing a schedule of something in a more broader view. So if I have a weekly schedule set out for my son for preschool, or if we have a schedule of something that we're following for whatever the case may be, all of it's going to go in here. And then that way I can see what the heck is actually happening somewhat for every day. And then I can break down these days in my daily section. So this will be where all the actual like week and forward or future planning take place. The monthlies will be the same in terms of like laying down bill due dates. And I'm going to try to condense this time by not putting everything in my month, but mainly just keeping it to bill due dates, like those bigger bills that we pay, so that they aren't missed. And then also I want to keep track of like any pivotal days that my husband might have, in terms of like if he has days off or he has an event or whatever that case may be. I'm going to try to keep track of it here. I'm also going to try to keep track of like any appointments we schedule. It will all go in here. So I'm going to try to keep it clean this time and not put everything known to man in my monthly like I've done in the past. So once we get past all the weeklies, I have so get past all the weeklies. So also I did I did switch out some things, and I will talk about why I switched it out when we get there. So, not completely Daytimer. I mean, it is the Daytimer company, like the owner, but I'll show you. Okay, so I added in these book trackers, also from Haru Plans. I added in quite a few of these. You can track 2 books on 1 page, and I printed them front and back. So I added quite a few of these because I'm also in a book club, and we vote on a book. We have themes. So every month, most of the months, we have a theme. There are a few months where we don't have a theme, and so we just kind of collectively find a book and then we all vote on that book. But most of the time, we have a book, and when we read that book, we ask a lot of questions. So what I want to do is I want to keep track of the book club books, not specifically the books that I've read. This year, my goal was 100 books. I read 48 books, so I didn't quite make my goal, but I read 48 books. That's a lot, and I read a lot of big books this year, so I'm pretty proud of myself for that I took that initiative to incorporate reading more, because I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It has also helped me stay away from social media. But for my book club, not my books particularly, I will be using this to track my book club books and just kind of rate them. And because our books also have to be a specific page number, so that'll help me here. So I want to keep track of them here, and then I want to write some questions or some of the things that stood out to me in these little spaces here that's provided, so that when we have our book club meetings at the end of the month, I can kind of answer or at least throw out some of my own responses to some of the questions that may be answered or asked rather, because I'm never really prepared for these book club meetings. I just kind of wing them, and this past month I didn't even read our book club book because I was moving, so I really wasn't ready for the meeting when we had it. So I want to be just more interactive with, or more active in my book club. I've been with them for about a year now, so I'm really happy. And yeah, that's what's going on with that. And then I just added some Filofax note pages, basically just to further elaborate on some things, jot down notes, questions, all that good stuff. So that's that. And then I switched out. So originally I had the Daytimer day on 2 pages, but I swapped that out and put in the at a glance, and I just rounded the corners out. I put in the at a glance dailies because they made more sense. So this was the thing that was not completely Daytimer, but Daytimer / at a glance. I put these ones in opposed to the other ones initially when I did this setup in the domino, because I did have everything set up in the domino. When I did that, I was like, the planner was missing quite a few different things. I was having big conflicts between like the daily setup, the day on 2 page setup with the Daytimer. I don't know if it was just the layout or the fact that, I don't know. I think it more or less was just like the layout and the fact that the notes page had all the numbers. I did keep, the months that I had originally in here. I kept them in the domino that I originally had set up. But I think I'm going to try them out, just like bounce between the two, maybe set them up at the same time just to kind of get a feel. I'm not technically new to the Daytimer day on 2 page layout. I've used it with another brand that's very similar, but there are some things that they didn't quite make sense. So I switched to these. What I'm going to do with these months, because they were a lot of months, I'm going to do, I don't know if I'm going to track or just kind of like note important things, like take from my main calendar to this calendar or what. I haven't quite figured out how I want to navigate this quite yet. So that is still up for discussion. And then because the At a Glance calendar or At a Glance bundle comes with a 2-page calendar opposed to the Daytimer's 1-page calendar, I'm not really sure how I want to utilize this either. Like, I could utilize it for other things, but I'm not really sure what I want to do with this. It's really only here to be a page marker for separating each monthly section so that they all don't run together. But outside of that, I don't really need the second calendar. So I'll probably come up with something, some use for it anyway. So when we get to the At a Glance, this is the layout that I fell in love with. I was really digging the Franklin Covey like layout. This is what I was originally going for this year before I settled on the Daytimer because I couldn't find this. But I really like this because I want to be able to have my schedule, but I also want to be able to see all of my tasks here. I like this. This was the biggest part for me, is that my tasks are, the space for a task is a lot bigger than a Daytimer. The lines are a little bit smaller. So I really appreciate that. And then in this area, I can do my thing that I was doing with my bullet journals, where I would separate. I would have a spreadsheet and it would go ICDT, I for incomplete, or I for in progress, C for, how did it go? See, I don't even know my own stuff. ICDT. So C for cancel, D for done, and T for transfer. I can do those little signifiers here as well. So I can also write notes. I can categorize the importance of notes between A, B, and C. So I just love it. I love these inserts a lot better than I like the Daytimer. But then again, I haven't used the Daytimer day on 2 pages, so I don't really know. Aesthetically, I like this. This is what I gravitated to the most. So this is what I chose. But I'm going to play with both, like I said, and just bounce between the two. So I have January through April in here. And yeah, I decided to keep one. So my thing is, yeah, I could get away with just having one quarter in here, but sometimes I like to get a head start with the new quarter. So I have all of quarter 1, and then I have 1 month of quarter 2. And so that allows me to kind of fill in some of the gaps instead of having to set it up and then go back and fill out everything. I know there's a method to this, but that's just how I like to do it. And then there's some things that you've seen in my bullet journals before. This field notes book, which has been bouncing from book to book because it holds some reference type things and some of my current book logging that I'm doing right now. And then I have a extra notepad just in case it's needed. And yeah, that would be my complete 2024 or 5 setup. I almost said 2024. If you're wondering what size rings these are, I changed them out to be the 30. I changed them to be 30 ml rings. It was fairly easy, like I said, and I did this because I wanted to be able to have all that I wanted to have in it. It is a little bit of a tight fit, but this binder thing is kind of like plush, so it's not like squeezing anything. Also, I like the idea that I could either downsize the rings or up the rings now. So right now I'm doing 30 just so I have everything that I want. But if I desire to have a more skinnier planner, I can choose so without necessarily having to switch binders per se, because, and just so you see, like, this is what it looks like with all the chunk, but it still I'm still able to close it fairly easy. I'm trying to do it without shaking. I'm still able to close it. It's not really pulling or anything. It's not pulling at all. It just looks as though it is because, you know, it's got bigger rings, but it's fairly soft and it's squishy, so everything is just well protected. So, yeah, that is it from me. That's my entire 2025 system. That's what I chose to go with. This year is all about simplicity for me. I'm tired of bouncing around. I say this just about every year, but no, if you've been paying attention in the last couple of months, you've been seeing more consistency with some of the stuff I'm using. I'm just kind of tired of bouncing, and yeah, I've kind of figured out what I like too, so that helps. But that's all that I have. The next couple of videos will just be kind of like some little updates, and we'll do the Agenda 52, like swapping out the rings. I'll show you guys what I intend to do with that. But outside of that, I don't really have anything else going into the new year. I don't know if you guys would like to see plan with me's. I used to do them in the past, but again, times have changed. People tend to not care so much. So I don't know. You guys let me know if you would like to see future plan with me videos or system, like setting up my system for a new month type of videos. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of things besides just planner updates. I think you guys like updates, but they get a little bit too repetitive. So you'll let me know. I'm sure of it. But thank you all so much, and I'll see you in the next planner related video. Bye, loves.